last time I was in this building, we had a baby shower for my wife. She's actually at home right now, resting. We've got our first kid on the way, due any day now, and I'm really, really excited about that. And I gotta tell you, there's something about running for office, having a 40-plus hour a week job, and running for Congress that makes me think that I've got to have a screw loose somewhere to be able to want to do all this. And looking back, I probably wouldn't have run for Congress right now with the fact that I've got a kid on the way, but at the same time, I also feel that this Congress we've got right now, this representative we have right now representing us in Congress, it's too important to wait and leave it to somebody else to try to get rid of him. It's also too important to not get the values of the 9/12 group out there, not to get the values of liberty and freedom out there. I actually decided to run for this office back in February of last year. And the day after I decided to run for office, I ended up getting laid off from my job, completely coincidental. But for about 6 months I was unemployed, and so it really kind of hurt the ability for me to be able to campaign and get the support early on that I needed to get. And so that really kind of set me back a lot, but I wasn't willing to give up. I wasn't willing to say, you know what, this is just too hard. There's no way at all that I can win. I'm just going to pack it up and go home. Because I really believe that the principles and values we stand for are just too important to let go. We've got a guy who's running on the Republican side that he thinks that it's okay to take away our land and give it to some big company to create more jobs. Now I feel that jobs are important, but to unfairly take away somebody's land, even if you are paying them for it, but to basically force them off the land is something that's just absolutely repugnant. And at the town hall meeting that the 9/12 group had this past weekend with Bill Bryant, I ended up getting a chance to ask the last question to him, and I asked him, if you were presented with the same eminent domain reform bill, would you vote for it, or would you sign it into law if you had that opportunity as governor? And he said that he would. Not 2 minutes before that, he said that he was in support of Palazzo, and so he showed himself to be somebody who's party over principle. And I think, like myself, a lot of you really do believe that we need somebody up there who's going to be principle over party, who has that moral center to him, like Pastor Philip said. And I think a lot of the things that have been going on in this country for the past several years has less to do with the Congress getting out of control and more to do with the fact that the church hasn't accepted its responsibility in society to take care of the lost and the hurting and the needy. And that there have been some congressmen who probably felt that, what they were doing was worthwhile, what they were doing was compassionate, and that they saw a need there because the church wasn't willing to do its job. And I think that if we're really going to turn this country around, if we're really going to make the difference that we need to, not only in the White House, but in the Congress and in our own houses, that we need to get back to God. We need to make sure that our spiritual house is in order first, if we're going to expect any of the kind of changes that we need. And that we don't need a leader in Congress. We need a servant up in Congress. We need somebody who's going up there to say, I'm going up there to represent you. I'm going to do what you want me to do. I'm not going to go up there and go off to concerts and go off on vacations and take month-long breaks and expect y'all to keep paying me. I'm not going to come back here and in the middle of town hall meetings tell you that, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what needs to be done in Congress. Let me handle that for you. That's not the kind of representative that I'm looking to be. I'm looking to be what Joe had said, Joe Tetradyne said during his campaign, that we need a citizen leader. I think even more so we need a servant leader. We need somebody who's going to put that servanthood, that servant heart first before they're going to try to be a leader, because we've got enough people who are leading up there and they're leading us in the wrong direction. We need people who are actually going to put their constituents first for once and actually serve their constituents instead of, looking to serve themselves. And because of that, that's a lot of the reason why I'm running. And yes, I'm running as a libertarian, and I know there are a lot of people who feel that a third-party candidate can't win. But the problem is, a lot of the ones who are pushing that are the ones who stand to gain by third-party candidates not winning. The only thing that'll happen by having Democrats and Republicans winning each time and going back and forth in control of the House and the Senate and the White House is that they're going to keep steadily pushing us off in a direction where it's more government and less freedom, where you're going to eventually see more and more an argument over what type of surveillance should be used on your household, on your internet activities, on how you spend your money, rather than should we be surveilling you or should we not be surveilling you. One of the things that I saw a couple of weeks ago was an article on CNN where it was talking about how there are ones in Congress right now saying that we need to use unmanned drones to help shore up some of the surveillance being done on our own soil. And one of the things that just really kind of shocked me about the article was the fact that it was saying that there are a lot of people who are raising safety concerns over having these drones flying through our airspace. They completely jump past the point of our civil liberties and our ability to be able to live our lives privately in our own backyards without fear of the government being able to look in on our lives with their eye in the sky and be able to see what's going on. Rather, they had jumped completely past the point of whether or not we should be spying on our own citizens to the point of, well, is it safe? Well, if it's not safe to our civil liberties, if it's not safe to, our ability to live our lives privately without being concerned for whether the federal government's being able to look in on our lives, then public safety as far as a drone flying in the sky and possibly hitting a plane is a far removed concern. And so I'm running because I feel that we need somebody who's going to go up there and not regulate you and me, but who's going to go up there and regulate the federal government. We need somebody up there who is going to cut the budget, cut items that we don't need, cut departments that we don't need. One of the things that I want to do is actually get rid of the Department of Education, because most of their money is going towards ensuring that civil liberties and civil rights of students aren't being infringed. Well, I think the state departments of education can handle that pretty well on their own. We don't need a federal Department of Education doing that for us. One of the articles that I read recently as well in Newsweek was talking about how the Republicans are starting to embrace the Tea Party groups kind of begrudgingly, because they realize that it's with people like you and me that are really going to make the difference in November. That we're the ones who are actually going to determine who has control of the House in November. And that they're trying to start to use that to get their support that they need to try to take over the House in November. But that apparently the idea of getting rid of the Department of Education is a fringe wingnut kind of idea. Well, I don't think it's a fringe wingnut idea to try to take away